Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to I believe, episode number 40. I want to say 49 of the Plumecast. Welcome. I see some people in here already. Pixel Slappa, how you doing? Raichi, welcome to Plumecast. Thank you for joining that. That's just anyone here in the chat. That's my channel members. It's just $1 a month. Just kind of help support the chat, and you get some cool little emoticons to go on with it, whatever they're called, stickers, whatever they're called. Well, welcome everybody. Episode number 49 of the Plumecast. How's everyone doing tonight? What's everybody been up to? What games have you been playing? All that type of stuff. Wait a little second here, see if anybody else piles in. What's up, the Robots Win? How you doing? Welcome. I have a new addition to Plumecast here, a little thing I added where you guys can see if you have questions, you have cool things you want to talk about. I will highlight your comment here. So, Happy Cloud Gamer, welcome. Can't stay. It's late in Norway. 2 a.m. You're going to bed, but liked and shared this stream before you go. Thank you, Happy Cloud Gamer. I very much appreciate that. Thank you for tuning in at 2 a.m. I mean, you probably should be getting a good night's rest, but I appreciate you coming in here and checking it out. And yeah, awesome. What is up, Sean? How you doing? Going on, Desmond? Loving Trek to Yomi. That's awesome. I actually really enjoyed Trek to Yomi. I finished it, I think, last week or so. Very, very cool game. It was really interesting art style and the way that they did everything. The only thing I would say about Trek to Yomi is the combat was a little bit like it was okay. It wasn't anything that blew me away, but it was a fun game overall and a cool story and all that type of stuff. What's up, Rach? You've been playing Salt Sanctuary. Nice. I've heard that game is really good. That game is really, really good. Sniper Elite 5 is fire. I still need to try that, so I will jump into that. That's a AAA game on Game Pass day one. I know it's third party, but still a AAA game that people have been talking about. That's one of the things that's been going on recently with Xbox is with the delays. It's one of the biggest criticisms right now with Game Pass is just the lack. They say lack of AAA content on it. Yes, lack of first party, but there's still lots of great AAA stuff. Sniper Elite 5 is one of those. So welcome everybody, episode number 49 of the Plumecast. And as I do every single week, I drink a beer. This week's beer is Amber of the North, a British style red ale. And I like my red ale, so I'm going to be jumping into that. Let me know if you guys are drinking beer, water, Coke, root beer, anything, coffee, or if you're just watching and not drinking anything. I'm just going to pour this here into my glass. Okay, last time I spilled on my pants, but this time, so far so good. It's hard to see what you're doing when there's a mic in front of your face. Probably should just move it next time to pour, but no, not bad. It's actually going in. This is actually almost a perfect pour. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. No Xbox, but I've been playing Demon Souls Remake and I love it like Elden Ring. Nice, that's good to hear. I tried Demon Souls Remake and I just wasn't. That was before I beat Dark Souls. So I played Demon Souls Remake, kind of stopped. Then I played Dark Souls, fell in love with it, and beat Dark Souls and enjoyed Elden Ring, or enjoying Elden Ring as I'm still going through it. It's a huge game. But Demon Souls Remake, I may have to try again. Super excited. So much great Xbox stuff. Yeah, there's going to be a lot. I think Microsoft is going to ghost drop a big game in a few days. Mark my words. I hope so, Desmond. And you're drinking bourbon. Enjoy your bourbon. And thank you again for stopping by. Bavari90, what's going on? Welcome. Plumecast number 49. So today, some of the stuff I want to talk about, it's going to be, we saw the IR day briefing stuff from Sony. So I just want to talk about the industry, the showcases that are coming up, the PlayStation moving to PC stuff, and kind of where that's going and how that's going to affect the industry going forward, and how they're pretty much just following in the footsteps of Xbox. And yeah, we'll just kind of relax, sit back, and just hang out. And I will go through your comments, and we'll do that thing. So Other than that, the games that I've been playing this week have been Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga. I've been playing Ghost Recon Future Soldier. I've been jumping back into that for some reason. It's such an incredible game. I couldn't believe how good that game was back on the 360. I was playing through and I'm like, this is a 360 game. Has a lot of Gears elements to it, but like a lot more tactical, but with just kind of like the cover shooting mechanics, stuff like that. So a really cool game. If you haven't played it, it is backwards compatible. You can literally just get an Xbox 360 disc and pop it in, and you'll be playing Ghost Recon Future Soldier. And the other game that I've been playing is Aiden Chronicles Rising, which is kind of just the precursor to the actual full game. And it is really, really good. A really good 2D hack and slash JRPG. A great, I think, JRPG on Game Pass right now. And who knows if they're going to be bringing over the full title to the service. I really hope they are, because I think it is an awesome game. And if you haven't checked it out, you like side-scrolling 2D, really nice hand-drawn. I guess it's hand-drawn, but really cool graphics. I would definitely check it out. If you played Suikoden, this is kind of like the spiritual successor to it, it'll probably be a game for you. But yeah, it's an awesome game and really, really enjoying it. But let me know what you guys are playing in the comments below. Felani Malongo, I'm confused. Let's say Activision Blizzard closes this year, October. Some industry insiders said it won't come to Game Pass because of a Sony deal. You mean Call of Duty, if that's what you're talking about, or just like the Activision Blizzard games? I think that they'll be able to put it into Game Pass either way. I don't know what the industry insider said about that, but we do know right now with Call of Duty is that we're seeing that Sony still has the marketing rights for Modern Warfare 2. They're going to be getting that open beta first, at least from that leak. Now, we don't know if that leak is going to hold true or not, but from that leak specifically, that's what we see so far. And it seems like they're getting some additional exclusive content, and nothing too big that's going to affect. It's not going to affect gameplay or anything, but I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'm of the mindset that right now, so Microsoft is saying Call of Duty and all these games are going to stay multi-platform. I mean, they have to say that so that they make sure that the deal goes through. I couldn't care less whether they go multi-platform or if they go exclusive to Xbox. To me, that isn't. If you've watched my channel, you know my stance on that type of stuff. At the end of the day, I don't care. I mean, game is coming to Game Pass. That's all that matters. It doesn't matter if other people are playing it on other platforms. I couldn't care less. Actually, I kind of want other people to play it on other platforms, just because what do you gain from somebody else not being able to play a game? Absolutely nothing, right? So I couldn't care less about that. I just feel like going into this deal, they have to say all the right things. We've seen all the FTC stuff. We've seen all the politicians and stuff writing letters and all that kind of stuff. And then, but we saw the shareholders vote 98%. It went through. But once the deal goes through, I feel like they're going to continue to honor the marketing rights deals with PlayStation, at least for Modern Warfare 2. But I'm sure the games are going to come onto Xbox Game Pass. I don't see why they wouldn't. It doesn't, unless there's some crazy marketing thing in that deal that Sony made with Activision Blizzard, specifically stating that these games can't go on to a subscription service. And if that's the case, I'm sure Microsoft would be willing to pay the dollar amount to break that contract. I don't see why they wouldn't want to do that, because it just doesn't really make any sense. You want those games on Game Pass. That's the more important thing over the exclusivity thing. It's getting those games onto Xbox Game Pass. That's the way I see it, and but we will have to wait and see. What's up, Michael? Welcome. It's funny how Microsoft announced delays of Redfall and Starfield and all the bad Fallout, then a couple years later say Activision deal is moving quickly. Well, so we know right now. So okay, let's just jump over to this thing that, since we're talking about Activision Blizzard, seems like topic people are interested in right now. Let's just jump over here to the thing that I read earlier, and it was this post here. It was this post here from the European lawyer who's going over the steps for the Activision Blizzard deal. Breaks it down, and at the end of the post, whether you believe them or not, they say that they are a European lawyer on IT law, and these subjects are day to day. So they say here, it's the legal process with deadline. The governments have to comply with the law too. An abridged version of the process would be as follows. If later I have more time, I'll explain in more detail. Two big regulatory organizations, FTC and the European Commission, have 30 and 25 days respectively to provide an answer once the merger acquisition notification has been sent. The notification hasn't been sent yet, but the original press release said that the deal would close in the fiscal year 2023. That means that means as soon as the 1st of July of 2022. So that's only in about a month from now. Okay. So that's very, very close. For that to be possible, they have to have sent the notification by the end of this month, May. That way, if the FTC and the EC, which is what, the European Commission or whatever, FTC, European Commission, yeah, and the EC don't answer in 30 to 25 days, a deal would be closed by the beginning of July. That's not going to happen, but in theory it could, and that's what Microsoft said, that it could be closed by fiscal year 2023. If the European Commission and FTC require more time, the second request phase begins. Here, the deadlines are a bit more flexible, but not in Europe. The European Commission has to provide an answer in 90 to 120 days to the second request, and then the FTC can take a bit longer, but not much longer because FTC and EC coordinate with each other in these processes. The second request phase usually implies lots of information. That's why it usually takes longer, and it's very expensive. But if you have the money and manpower, which Microsoft does, you can accelerate this process by weeks. Okay, so that's the big thing. Because Microsoft's so rich, they can accelerate this process. He says here that by the end of May, so if by the end of May they sent the notification, the beginning of July, the first phase should be finished. Usual 4 to 5 months for the second phase should be done by the end of November, December. Seeing how proactive Microsoft is, unless there is an express opposition to the deal, which I don't think there will be, the deal, they have to go to court. It's perfectly possible that the deal is done by the end of November, beginning of December. So that's what a lot of people think is potentially could happen right now if this deal closes by the end of the year. If they were somehow able to close this deal by the end of the year, like, I don't know, maybe they can do some huge announcement for November, for December, where these games come into Xbox Game Pass, because we know Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 releases on October 28th. Now, do they need this deal to close to get that into Game Pass? Not necessarily. I guess they probably, actually, no, they probably do. If PlayStation has the marketing rights to it, there's probably something in there. So they probably would need that deal to close. So if they can get this thing moving fast and close it by November, you never know. You never know. But we'll have to wait and see. I don't think there's anything wrong with these games coming. I don't think there's anything that would hold these games back from coming to Game Pass once the deal closes. That doesn't really make sense. So we need somebody, obviously, more into the law side of things to explain that. Black Knight, I don't care as long as I get it on Game Pass. It's kind of funny seeing the PlayStation fans scream after they've been doing this for years. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter about the exclusivity as long as these games come to Game Pass. It's literally all that matters. Because, like, who cares? If it's crossplay, right? You got to think about it like this too, right? If these games come to Game Pass, you're getting it in the service, they're crossplay. All it means is more people you get to play with. It's just a bigger community of people to play with. Faster finding matches, bigger matches, more variety of people to play with. The community will just last longer. So yeah, I don't really care about Call of Duty staying on PlayStation. It's not an issue for me at all. Because also at the same time, it's like, as a consumer, as a gamer, what do you gain from exclusivity of Call of Duty? Right? Nothing. You really gain nothing. We don't work for Microsoft. We don't make, we don't care about their bottom line and revenue for us. Like, we're not making their money. We just want a good product at the end of the day. And hopefully the more money they make and the more quality studios they have, the better content we'll get. Vari 90, Nick Baker from Xbox Era believes that the Activision Blizzard will close by the end of the year. That would be very interesting. I can see it happen after reading that thing there. Michael, I think Microsoft must have something up their sleeves. They don't just delay 2 big games, then come with nothing till next year. So that's an interesting point because of the fact that I kind of agree with that. Starfield, when did they announce the delay? Redfall, 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. There's absolutely no way that Phil Spencer didn't know that this announcement was coming for probably a decent amount of time. Like, he probably was told that, hey, there is like this percentage of a chance that we're going to have to delay this game because of this reason or whatever. And they had a deadline date where they had to make a decision, where they had to make a call. So I'm sure Phil Spencer and they kind of, we hope, had some sort of contingency plan. That's going to be the big thing for June 12th was there a contingency plan for these delays? Are they going to have a big announcement? Do they have a big third party game in their bag that they're going to be able to pull out, put onto Game Pass day one for the holiday season? Because as well, we know that PlayStation is doing their state of play on Thursday. Now, this is just third party and PSVR apparently that they're saying that they're doing. So, I mean, they're not going to be showing off God of War, but I'm pretty sure God of War is releasing in September based on everything we've seen with like the merch, with it being rated in Korea. They're going to have God of War on PlayStation, and then they're going to have maybe Final Fantasy 16, unless I'm mistaken on that. I don't know if Final Fantasy 16 had an official release date yet, and maybe they're going to aim for holiday season 2022. They may show something like a Street Fighter and whatever other third-party timed exclusivity deals that they have in the works. You know, PlayStation has been doing those timed exclusive stuff. You know, they're working on them. So they're probably going to have a bunch of third-party stuff and some other third-party stuff they're going to showcase here, where they have the marketing rights for, like Hogwarts Legacy, even though it is multi-platform, that a lot of people are going to see that and believe that it's only on PlayStation. And then maybe they're going to announce the release of PSVR 2 this year. Or again, unless I forgotten that they said that PSVR 2 is coming in 2023 or not, but I don't remember them saying that. Maybe they'll do that. So PlayStation is going to have a lot, especially if God of War releases as well. And if from the business perspective, again, we don't make money off Microsoft, but we want to see games come over to the platform. From the business perspective, if they don't have anything big coming into Game Pass for the holiday season, I wonder, like, they're gonna have to really go hard on marketing in different ways, such as things I've talked about before with like what they did with Fortnite on the Xbox Series S and just try to push consoles that way. Or I don't know, really try to make sure that everyone sees all the value within Xbox Game Pass, or get some really big smaller titles in there as well to make sure that people see that what's available. Again, this is all just marketing stuff, because if you've gone into Game Pass, if you go through it, let's say nothing comes out this year on the service, it's unfortunate. It is disappointing that the games got delayed. There's no excuse for that in terms of not having some sort of plan to back it up for the delays if they don't have one. But again, June 12th is still just around the corner, and I have a feeling there is going to be some pretty big announcements there. But let's say there's nothing. So let's say it's just a bogus show that they don't have any big announcements. Yeah, people are going to be disappointed. Yeah, people are going to be upset, and they're going to be upset up until they start releasing the games. It's pretty much it at the end of the day. But like you see the stuff from people and like unsubscribing from Game Pass. I tweeted about this stuff. Like, it's just absolutely ridiculous. If you think there's nothing to play on Game Pass, you may not like video games as much as you think you like video games. Do you know what I mean? All right. Xbox, they don't have experience that PlayStation has. That is true. They don't have a good exclusive game. That's not true. They do have good exclusive games, but yeah, they don't have the same experience. Why bother? Everyone knows they get COD anyways a few months later. True. They could put that in there. But that also means Call of Duty is cloud streamable, essentially making their biggest title a mobile game. Yeah, and they also have Call of Duty Mobile, right? So it's kind of a double dip for them with the stream. Like, I don't know. I haven't played too many FPSs through Xbox Cloud Gaming. I don't know how good is it in terms of, I hear it works completely fine. If you're just sitting back casually, probably it works great. They mocked the delays, but if Starfield can be a game of a decade like Skyrim, they wouldn't be mocking the delays afterward. Well, that's kind of the thing with Starfield. I talked about this. I don't know if it was last week or if it was the last time I did Plumecast. The problem with not the problem, like the opportunity with Starfield is that it is that game that can be that generational video game for a lot of people. You look at Skyrim and they don't have that opportunity to release it and it not be polished and it not be good and it not be something that people fall in love with right away. They don't really have that opportunity, because if they want it to be a game of a decade, a game of a generation, you can't do what Cyberpunk did, because Cyberpunk 2077 theoretically had that same opportunity and they blew it. They completely blew it with the way that they botched the release. And I think a lot of developers saw that. They saw that sure, Cyberpunk sold well still. They still made their money, but if you want the game to be like that cultural phenomenon, you can't launch it like Cyberpunk does. And Starfield is one of the very few games that actually has that opportunity. And we'll see. They just, I feel like Todd Howard just definitely does not want to mess that up. So delaying the game a couple months. Yeah, you missed the sexy release date, but the payoff for it is just so much better if they're able to do what they want to do with that opportunity, which is making it like a generational game. All right. 1 second here. My chat just froze. All right, sorry about that. Chat just kind of froze up on me there quickly. Where was I? What if they announce a Disney licensed game? Well, we're hearing about that Mandalorian game, right? Maybe they'll announce something like that. Never know. Xbox has a 90-minute showcase. There's nothing to show. Sony had a 30-minute state of play. Equals everything announced under the sun logic. Yeah, I mean, that's it. And the 30-minute state of play is only third-party stuff, right? But I feel like they're going to have like a big state of play later on just to show off God of War. So they will most likely have that. And that's going to be a game that takes up literally 90% of the airwaves in terms of marketing and people's eyes and attention when they announce God of War Ragnarok. So Xbox again will really have to compete with that. But you think of PlayStation, and you think of what they're doing, right? Think of the moves that they are making. And they had their investor relations call. Okay. They had their investor relations call. And they pretty much said, we see where the market's going. We see that we have to transition away from console exclusivity. And we're going to be bringing, they say here, around half of their games on PC and mobile by 2025, which is just absolutely not surprising. This is something a lot of people have talked about. A lot of people said this was coming. I was always in the camp that they're going to do this eventually. Like, it's happening. And people who, think that they're going to stay console exclusivity and they're going to continue to build consoles and just push those out to people all the time, just crazy. They're wrong. They're just completely wrong. And PlayStation went ahead and confirmed this. You saw a lot of people freaking out on social media saying this is going to be the end of my purchase of PlayStation. I'm never buying another PlayStation again. I'm going strictly PC, blah, blah, blah. All this garbage on social media, or people getting angry about PlayStation moving its games to PC. And I mean, you had the same stupid outrage when Xbox did it, saying that they were having like the play everywhere and every game was going to release on PC as well. People thinking that like, oh, that's going to cannibalize the console sales. Nobody wants to buy a console anymore because the games are on PC. Like, just absolute stupid logic like that. And we've seen all of those narratives just completely destroyed because consoles, I say this so many times, and it's always proven if you just look at the statistics of what people are playing and the most bought games every single year. The majority of people with consoles are not playing first-party games. They are playing third-party titles. They're playing Call of Duties. They're playing Maddens. They're playing Fortnite. They're playing whatever big third-party titles are out there. And people buy consoles to play that stuff. They don't care. They don't care about the exclusives for the majority of people. And they also buy consoles because they're cheap and because they're easy to use and they're easy to access. And it's just, in my opinion, just an easier way to play games. You can sit back on the couch as well with a controller. Like, it's not just for exclusives. In fact, it's not even majorly for exclusives. I would say exclusives are a part of why people buy consoles. And I would say it's a smaller percentage of people who buy consoles just to play exclusives. For example, myself, PlayStation 5. Literally the only reason I bought it was to play their exclusives. So I'm in that boat that I bought a console to play exclusives. But the PS5, not Xbox. I bought Xbox. I love their first party games. Like Halo and Gears are my favorites out of all of the first parties across all of the platforms. So I'm obviously playing those as well, but I also bought it as like my main machine where I'm playing everything on. And that's what it is. And Sony's realizing this and they're thinking like, we might as well put our games and make more money. They saw the increase in revenue for PC tripling from 80 million last year when they had less stuff on PC to forecasts of 300 million in 2022. You don't think they see those numbers and they're going to want to start releasing pretty much all of their titles on PC? I know they say here around half of its games are going to be on PC and mobile by 2025. I wouldn't be surprised if it's all their games, every single game, especially if they make their own PC launcher. I wouldn't be surprised whatsoever if they're going to start releasing all of their games day and date into PC. And, you know, PlayStation, they change their tune all the time with the stuff that they're doing, especially with Jim Ryan. So they say half now, that half can easily turn into 100% by 2025. And the money's there. That's where you make the most money. And they prove it with all their stats here with the more money on PC. They're proving it with the other stats. Let's see if I can pull them up here. Well, we also have this here, this video of Jim Ryan, which is pretty funny. He says like 400 times. Other than that, it's funny. Where was it? I had let's just move over here. I had it liked, and it was just like the stats on amount that people spend on microtransactions and free to play versus the first party exclusives. And it was just insane. Like the majority of their spend is on microtransactions through their store and through free to play games and all that type of stuff compared to the single player traditional releases that PlayStation does. So PlayStation is moving to PC just like Xbox did. Xbox has always been ahead of the curve though, right? You think about every single generation and the things that Xbox has done, they've always been ahead of the curve. And then other companies, particularly PlayStation, have followed them. And sometimes they do some things better than Xbox, even though Xbox first started it. But like you think about 360 with Xbox Live, or the original Xbox with Xbox Live, and 360 with achievements, friends list, all that type of stuff. And then now you think about Xbox's strategy with the subscription and the play everywhere and having access on multiple devices. PlayStation is going down that line because they see that's where all the money is. And the reason I have this theory as to why they are moving on it now, I think the chip shortage has greatly accelerated their plans. I think it's really, really greatly accelerated their plans. I think like if there wasn't for the chip shortage, they know that they can continue with doing the console exclusivity stuff and pushing out $70 games and pushing out whatever other stuff that their fans will pay for no matter what. They know they can continue to do that. But because of the chip shortage, they've realized that they're going to have to greatly accelerate ways to make more money because you just can't get a PS5 as much as they can't meet the demand. They just can't meet the demand. And how do you offset that? You put your games, you put your software, you get people into your ecosystem in different places. That's how you offset it and you make more money. And Xbox, I mean, nobody predicted the pandemic, but Xbox, stroke of luck, I guess you could say, stroke of just smart business sense, that when they moved to this in 2017, pretty much, and going forward with Game Pass and stuff, that they have a huge competitive advantage now, because that's where the industry is going, and it's completely accelerated because of the chip shortage and all that type of stuff. All right. Hopefully I can get this chat thing back up where I can highlight your stuff, because it was working great. And now it just stopped, but I will still read your chats. Chat overlay. All right. Cloud gaming is great on PC, so easy. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I've been using it on my Steam Deck. And when I got my Steam Deck, I was like, I'm going to install Windows, make it my Xbox Game Pass portable, which I saw some okay, so I don't think they're actually going to announce an Xbox Game Pass portable, but there was some little Twitter stuff going on with Tom Warren, I believe, and Jez, and they were kind of joking around about an Xbox portable. But I would love to see an Xbox portable. I probably would sell my Steam Deck if they had a really cool Xbox portable. But anyways, I didn't put Windows on it. I just kept Xbox Cloud Gaming. It works great. Chat was on fire. Nice. That's good to see. I wish I had a plug in here. It just broke on me. It was like where I was highlighting your chats, it looked really cool. I really liked the way that it looked, and I was having fun with it, but I guess it just stopped working apparently. So I'll just go through and I'll just read it. You won't see the comment I'm commenting on, but I will say it. You think that Atlas will put more of their mainstream games on Xbox this gen? I think so. I think at some point they will. They had the survey and stuff, right? They had the survey asking people if they want to play their Atlas games on Xbox, and hopefully enough people went and said yes, and hopefully they'll bring them over. I would love to see it. I mean, I'm not like the biggest Atlas fan in the world or anything like that. I just think overall, for Xbox Game Pass, the service, it'd be great to have them over there. And from a business perspective, it's just a super smart move. Xbox can do it just for the Japanese audience. And I mean, you think of Persona, right? Like Japanese audience will love it, but in the West, like Persona is pretty mainstream now, I'd say. Like a lot of people know Persona, a lot of people play. It's almost like kind of like Final Fantasy in a way. Maybe not as much mainstream as Final Fantasy, but it would still be huge. Seems kind of hypocritical. I see no criticism for PlayStation when Blue Box literally have nothing done for Abandoned. You'd think they'd at least have some interest in an exclusive for their console. Well, Blue Box was a scam. Blue Box just scammed PlayStation, I assume. Or I don't know how they got, like, what went on with that, but that's obviously just a scam. Like, there's no way that game's never coming out. Or, yeah, it's probably never coming out. Look at Sony games. God of War sold something like 20 million copies. That's only around 20% of the PS4 player base. But look how many people play COD on PS4. Exactly, Carolina Gamer. That's it. Like, that's my whole point. People love, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I play exclusives. I love exclusives. But when you look at it from, like, the business side of things, exclusives is not where you make all your money in the business. If these consoles only put out a couple of exclusive games a year, they'd be broke. We'd have no consoles. There'd be nothing to play ever. PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, like, they wouldn't be able to support it. Is it possible at the Xbox showcase they may announce that they are bringing Elden Ring to Game Pass for Xbox and PC? Or possible a third-party game like Hogwarts Legacy or Gotham Knights? So I don't think Hogwarts Legacy has a chance because they have the marketing deal with PlayStation. I would be very surprised if Elden Ring came to Game Pass. You're From Software is like one of the greatest selling games like ever. Like, why put it into Game Pass? You know what I mean? Like, people are going to buy Elden Ring and play Elden Ring. They don't need the money. and they can just keep all, like, they don't have to make it. I don't know, unless Xbox offers them like crazy amount of millions as just like cherry on top of the cake. So I don't see why they would bring it there. Gotham Knights. I think there's a chance Gotham Knights. I would love to see Gotham Knights. I would love to also see Saints Row. There could be that could be like the big announcement. And for both of those games, I mean, first of all, both of those games have had, I would say, rocky PR since their announcement. Saints Row, you had the issue with people mad that they were changing up like the aesthetic of it. But I think Saints Row looks amazing. I can't wait to play it. Gotham Knights, they showed off the video, and I think it was like 50-50 split. Some people were excited. Some people thought the game looked like crap. I was on the side of it. I was excited for it. So, there's the chance that both of those games may not do as well as they want, and then you can make a deal with Game Pass to just take away all that risk. Make a couple $1 million off of Game Pass, and boom, the risk of marketing and the risk of not making back all your development costs go away instantly. So I could see maybe one of those games. I would love to see one of those games for sure, though. I'd love Play Anywhere more with the Steam Deck. I'm just sad that not many third-party games participate. Yeah. You have a Steam Deck too. That's cool. I haven't. I've just been using Xbox Cloud on it, so I haven't tried natively downloading any, I don't have Windows on yet. We believe in generations. Also, we're supporting the PS4 until 2025. That's a great one. That's something that I forgot. I talked about it in my video, but I had forgotten to pull up the article on it. But yeah, like, they had their IR day. They say they're going to support PlayStation until 2025. But before the launch of the PS5, they believed in generations. They had made it sound like that they were just going to like slowly get off of PS4, which again shows the great business decisions that Xbox made with the Xbox Series S, because the chip shortage just completely destroyed all of PlayStation's plans. They had all their eggs in one basket, which was PS5 console exclusives, continuing down the tried and true tested strategy for consoles that at some point was going to have to change. They were just probably trying to like get the most and drip the most out of it until they were forced to change. The chip shortages are forcing them to change now, and now they're going to have to create games for PS4 until 2025. I mean, and you have people out there criticizing the Xbox Series S. Like, how much is a PS4 right now? Can you get it for $200? Like a PS4 Slim? You walk into a store, you're like, should I get a PS4 or should I get an Xbox Series S? And the Xbox Series S, I'm not trying to compare them, because I think like the Series S in terms of hardware and what it can do is like 1 billion times better than the PS4. But in terms of price points, they're similar, which is crazy. And it just shows the smart strategy that Xbox had, where they can use a even cheaper console that they released this generation, use all of the marketing of it being next gen, which the Series S is. I don't care what anybody says. It's for the price and what you get out of it. It's incredible, especially with a game like Halo 1, you have the 120 FPS option. Call of Duty has that option too. All of the big first-person shooters. But like, you go into a store, you're obviously going to pick the Series S. And then it also helps offset the issue with the chip shortage and with the not being able to meet the demand for consoles. All right. I'm just going to try this one more time. Try this one last time. See if I can get this chat thing to actually pop up. And if not, well. But 66 people in the chat right now. Thank you guys again, like, for stopping by. It's awesome. I mean, it's great to see you guys all here. I'm assuming this is mostly people who are already subscribed to my channel, but if you are new here, make sure to go check out the channel. If you like daily news, you like daily content, go. You enjoy the videos, make sure to hit the subscribe button. It's free to subscribe. Just got to hit the little red button. And yeah. And thanks again. This is my weekly gaming news podcast. If you're new here, where I just talk about the news, I talk about all the cool stuff going on in gaming. We just have a good time and hang out. But unfortunately, the chat thing's not working, so I'll just keep reading through. All right. Rise and Herbs just lost 70 million runes in Elden Ring. I'm so pissed right now. Yeah, that would be extremely, extremely annoying. You like the questions in the screen when I answered? Yeah, I know. I had that set up. I don't know. Just like it was there at the beginning and then it just died. I have no idea how to fix it right now. No idea how to fix it. I don't know why it just died on me, but it decided to break. I liked it too. What about Xbox putting Xbox Game Pass app using Linux for Steam Deck? Huh, I don't know. I've never tried that. Can that be done? Is it something that can be done? I think Sony needed the blue box thing on PlayStation 5 just for the gossip around it. Maybe, you never know. Maybe. I don't know if that, like, how much. I guess it helped create the PR of, like, Silent Hill. But we now know that Silent Hill is making they have 3 games in the works for Silent Hill. So, I don't know. Who knows? That developer just seems like a literal scammer. Do you think when Xbox releases the streaming stick, it would have a micro SD so you can install a game rather than streaming it in case you can't stream games when traveling? That would be super cool. It would be super cool. The problem is, do you need like the SSD speeds within the Series X to play these games? Like, is there going to be a micro SD at that time that it comes out to, match that? I don't know. So I probably not. I don't know. A lot of these, unless you're playing like the not a version that runs on the Series X, I think that would be a great idea, 100%. If they added something like that in, that'd be such a huge game changer. Like, imagine. But the problem is, you'd have to have also like the Jeep. You'd have to have all the What am I saying? No, I don't think so. Because you'd have to have all the hardware power in there. The point of the streaming thing would be to alleviate the costs of running games and making something that can run those games natively. That's the point of the stream stick. Like, I'm assuming this box is going to be very cheap, right? Under $100, maybe $100, maybe like a $79.99 type of thing. There's going to be like no hardware in there, so no, you're not going to be able to play games offline. I'm assuming it would make the most sense. Gotham Knights on Game Pass would fit co-op. Yeah, that's a great point. I think Gotham Knights would be a great thing. To keep sub-services without raising the price too much, it probably means the majority of AAA files, first-party games, a future will have more microtransactions, Game Passes, paid DLCs, and paid skins. Yeah, that's true. That's a good point as well. Hey, Plume, PS4 are still pricey. The cheapest is at Walmart for $399. That's got to be a PS4 Pro, right? $399? No. Or you can get an original PS4 for $289. What? That's crazy. I haven't looked into the prices of PS4, but $399. That has got to be a Pro, right? That can't be just like a regular PlayStation 4. That doesn't make any sense. That's nuts. Who would go buy a PS4 at that price? Like, there's great. I mean, yeah, there's tons of great games on PS4, but if you're buying a PS4, you just go to Craigslist or Kijiji in Canada, whatever classified listing things that you guys have. You get a PS4 for like $50 or $100, $75. Probably get like a controller and a couple games for like $100. That's nuts. Those prices blow me away. Pyro, love the daily doses of news. Glad to catch up live for once. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Thank you for stopping by. Sorry about the messiness of going through the chat here. I had like a thing popped up where I highlighted the actual comments I was commenting on, and then midstream it just kind of crashed and broke on me. So I've been trying to fix it, but it just wasn't working. Lord Xbox, Warhammer Darktide. I can't wait to play that. Scorn, Stalker 2, Deathloop, Plague's Tale, Requiem, Somerville, Party Animals, still coming to Game Pass Day 1 this year. That's a great list. Totally forgot. Stalker 2, we'll see. Because it's December 8th that they have the release date, I think. And the chances that, because they just started working on it again, so will they be able to finish it up by December 8th? Could be tough. Be great. But yeah, that's a great list of games that I just, like, you forget. Like, I forget all the time. Warhammer Darktide. I mean, I'm pumped for that game. And yeah, you just forget about all the stuff that's coming. I can't remember half of the games. Like, I can't even remember half the games that Xbox Game Studio is working on some of the times because they have so many. So there is a ton of stuff coming out. Got your PS4 for $50. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no one's, I guess for a brand new one, but those prices, $399. That's crazy. PS5 and Xbox Series X Pros maybe next year or too real seems way too soon. Well, there is this article. I don't think it is real. I think, so in my video, I gave like 2 reasons as to why they would have shown that. One, they have information we don't know about, and we're talking about TCL here. And 2, we're just guessing. They were just like throwing stuff out there to try to push forward their TVs, their high-end TVs. And that's what this article pretty much says here. And from Jeff Grubb, no, TCL did not just reveal plans for an Xbox PS5 Pro. And he goes over here pretty much just saying, is this confirmation of new hardware upgrades coming from Sony and Microsoft? Absolutely not. TCL is just speculating. You can tell because they put the information up in big letters on a stage. If the company knew what it was talking about, then it would be under a non-disclosure agreement. Yeah, so they're just guessing on this. They're just basing it off basically what happened last generation with the mid-gen refresh stuff, which makes a ton of sense. And from the beginning of this generation, even before all the chip shortage stuff started coming out, I was like, no, there's no way that there's going to be a mid-gen refresh this year in terms of like a more powerful one, just because like the consoles right now are great. I mean, they are powerful. They didn't release anemically. Like, sorry, just trying to clear up this chat from. Sorry about that. For some spam. They didn't try to release anemic. They didn't release anemically from like what the PS4 and the Xbox One did. Hey Plume, just stopping by to say, hope you have a great Memorial Weekend. Thanks, Kyle. Appreciate it. Hope you have a great weekend as well. They didn't release anemically like the PS4 and Xbox One. Like those consoles when they came out, they were just so weak, right? Like you knew they were slow loading. They were, I would say, at the lower end of like the tech when you're comparing it to like PCs. Whereas this gen, we got these consoles and I'd say they're kind of like mid, not anymore. I mean, now this is 2 years after release, they've fallen down a little bit, but there's still so much we haven't seen that these consoles can do. And there's still so much of the tools people love to make fun of that haven't been utilized yet that will allow these consoles to continue to last for a very long time. Now, what we will see, I have no doubt, is a variation in terms of the size. Like you're going to get the slim consoles. You get those every single generation. Maybe the Series S is going to get some variation to it where they can even make that thing smaller, which would be absolutely nuts. Maybe a diskless Xbox Series X. Maybe a Series S with a disk drive. I don't know why they would want to do that because that would increase the cost, but you never know. And plus we saw that there was a patent that they were working on, which I hope works. I hope comes to fruition. It is that you can use disc games on a Series S by attaching was it an external disc drive or something where it would just verify that you had the license. So there's all that type of stuff. So I don't think you're going to get like a Gen 9.5. And then there's a chip shortage. They still can't meet the demand right now. And I guess you look at how well the PS4 Pro and the One X did, and you could use the argument that, well, they want to make a new console mid-gen because they make a lot of money off it. It takes up like a huge amount of the market. But the way I'm thinking about it, and I could be completely wrong on this, is if the demand is so high because of the chip shortage right now that in a year, in 2 years from now, once these consoles become more available, they can literally sell as many as they make still, but they'll be able to sell more because they have the chips. The cost of making the PS5 and the Series X will have gone down, right? They'll have gone down a decent amount, even if like it's still expensive to get the chips because there is a shortage, I guess, but like the other parts of the console will have decreased. Your profit margin is going to be even bigger. Wouldn't you want to just sell more of something that you guaranteed to sell? It's not going to be sitting on store shelves. People are running out to buy them and then just make more money with the profit margin. So that's why I feel like they're going to keep pushing these consoles for a decently long time. And then the next release of a console will probably just be a new generation. But I could be wrong. That's just like the way I see it. But I could be completely wrong on that. Yeah, that was a long rant, but yeah. Sniper Elite 5 is a really fun evolution of the series with greatly expanded maps and gameplay features. I've never really gotten into the Sniper Elite series, but I am going to play Sniper Elite 5. I'm going to jump in. Everyone's saying it's the best one. I mean, it's on Game Pass, and people say that they've added a bunch of stuff to it. So 343 is quite talented to make Halo 5 run at 60 FPS on the OG Xbox. Fair. I mean, you don't really see today too many people giving props to 343, which is they deserve props for a lot of the stuff that they did. There's stuff with Halo that could definitely be better. They needed more content, but they definitely have some good stuff. So, what else we got here? So we have the Xbox and Bethesda showcase coming up. June 12th, that's going to be the biggest showcase. I mean, every year you think about it. Last year with the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, we thought this is the biggest, most important showcase of their life, and they knocked it out of the park. It was really well done. I thought it was the best Xbox showcase we've ever had. This year, if Starfield and Redfall didn't get delayed, it would have been just literally a walk in the park. All they would have to do is show up, sprinkle in a couple trailers here and there of stuff that people didn't really like. People are excited for it, but everyone wants to see Starfield and Redfall, but mainly Starfield. And then they would have had to shown off like a deep dive gameplay of Starfield and a deep dive gameplay of Redfall. Everybody would have walked away happy. Everybody would have walked away excited. And it would have probably been the easiest showcase that Xbox ever had to do. And now, because those games got delayed, June 12th is bigger than last year, you could argue, because of all of the games that they have in the works. So let me know what you guys want to see in the comments below from the Xbox and Bethesda showcase on June 12th, and I'll go through some of those comments. But what I think they need to do is literally show up, have a large segment of the show of gameplay of games that we already know about. So ones, I guess, that are close to being released: Hellblade 2, or that we think is close to being released. Avowed, show some Avowed. Starfield, obviously. Redfall, obviously. They need to show gameplay of those. And that, if they don't show gameplay of Starfield and Redfall, then I'll be a little bit worried. I'll be a tiny bit worried because they've delayed it to the first half. What was it? April, between like the first 3-4 months of 2023. And realistically, that's not a huge amount of time. Like, the game was supposed to be released in November. They're releasing it 3, 4, 5 months, right? There's not that much time if the game isn't in a good state to make sure that the game comes out in a good state. So they should be able to show gameplay at this point. There should be no real excuse why they can't show gameplay of Starfield if they're just taking those extra months to make sure that the game's polished and that they have a great release with it. So if they don't show Starfield gameplay, I will be worried, a little bit worried. Gameplay of Redfall, of course. It'd be super cool to see something on like a State of Decay 3. I know like this is a game I'm really excited for. I actually enjoy State of Decay 2 and the gameplay loop and all that type of stuff. And we're hearing like State of Decay 3 is going to be a bigger, just a much more polished, or I don't know if polished is the right word, but there's going to be a lot more money and resources and stuff that's able to put into State of Decay 3. So it seems like it's going to be a big jump from State of Decay 2. So it'd be really cool if they showed off something for State of Decay 3. Forza Motorsport 8. This is a game that a lot of people are expecting to be announced and released this year still. I feel like I go through social media and a lot of people still are saying Forza Motorsport 8 is going to be that surprise first party announcement released in 2022. So that would be super cool. I'll be completely honest, when it comes to Forza, I've never been like the hugest Forza fan, but I have played the Horizon games, which are fun. I actually enjoy the Horizon games. Never been that big into the motorsport games. Back in the day, I played Gran Turismo, believe it or not. I didn't pick up Gran Turismo 7 because of just the absolute abysmal launch with that. So I'll play Forza Motorsport 8. I'll check it out on Game Pass for sure. And if I enjoy it, I'll play a lot of it. If I don't, I won't. But as someone who played Gran Turismo as his like simulation racing game for a lot of past generations, this will be my first jump into Forza Motorsport. So excited. I'm actually kind of excited to check Forza Motorsport 8 out if they do launch it. Then those are some gameplay. Like they got to show gameplay of these games. Maybe show some gameplay of like this stuff here, like Project Indus, Dragon, Belfry, Shaolin, As Dusk Falls, and Contraband. Like all of these Xbox publishing games. Maybe one or two of these, if they have gameplay ready, they need to show that. And then talk about what these projects are. Like we know that these are in the works, essentially, right? Talk about what they are, give us some information on it, and then maybe announce some new ones. So the gameplay of the games is first. They got to show gameplay. That's the most important thing. People want to see gameplay. I think a lot of people are kind of fed up and annoyed of just CGI trailers. I'll be honest, when I see just straight CGI trailers or just teaser trailers, I'm like, okay, cool, this game's coming, but it doesn't do that much for me. Like for example, when they showed Wolverine off at the PlayStation event, am I excited to play a Wolverine game from Insomniac? Hell yes. Yes, like 100%. I saw it. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. I can't wait for Wolverine to come out. But I wasn't like over the moon, just absolutely crazy excited. They literally showed a 2-second screen that was completely just like a CGI teaser trailer with, this game's not coming out for so long. I didn't jump up and down and get all excited. But gameplay is where it draws me in, and I need to see a bit more gameplay. And then I think what they need to do is they need to have like a section where they're just showing off boom, 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 boom. Here's coming to Game Pass in August, September, October, whatever. Coming to Game Pass this, then all these cool games coming to Game Pass, whether that's indie, AA, and then make an announcement of like, this is a big game we've secured for Game Pass coming day and date in October, day and date in November. And just at least one big game they've been able to secure for the holiday season coming to Game Pass in day one or on day one. And I think if they do that, they'll have been able to salvage these delays of Starfield and Redfall kind of thing. Like, I think what people will be happy with is if they show gameplay at the end of the day. That's what I think most people want to see. So that's what I'm expecting, but the show could be like an hour and a half. So if they do an hour and a half, they have a lot of time to really give a lot of information. And potentially maybe talk about like the streaming stick project, their Xbox Keystone as well. But as we know with that, they've kind of are iterating it and they don't seem to be ready. But what do you guys want to see? What do you guys want to see at the show? What do you guys want to see at the show? Hoping for a few great surprise announcements. Yeah, for Game Pass. Don't want to deep dive into Starfield. Give it to 5 to 10 minutes and move on. Yeah, I mean, that's what I think. At least 5-10 minutes. I mean, 10 minutes would be a pretty deep for an hour and a half show, maybe not. But 5-10 minutes, more than enough as long as there's gameplay of it. Just some gameplay, like show like one quest or one planet that you're walking on or flying around or whatever. I don't know. I think like just get Todd Howard to come out and talk about the game. It's not that hard at this point. I know that Bethesda likes to do their like announce it, show it off, and then release it. Which, I mean, it's not that big of a difference. We're going to be in June. Yeah, it's still almost like a year, 9-10 months out. You want to see Halo Battle Royale? Oh, this person. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry for that spam there. Want to see Halo Battle Royale? That would be cool. It's from Certain Affinity. See what they're working on for the Battle Royale. Yeah. I think that's another thing I forgot to mention. They got to show some more Halo stuff. They got to get people some more Halo content to be excited for. I want to see what Call of Duty Realistic Dog and Fish. That's, again, you're reminding me. I've blanked on a bunch of stuff. If they could do something crazy like announce Call of Duty Modern Warfare coming to Xbox Game Pass on day one, even though the deal hasn't gone through yet, that would just be massive. That would be so big. That would probably salvage literally everything for a lot of people. I know for myself that I'm actually very excited for this year's Call of Duty. Very, very excited for it. And I haven't been that excited about Call of Duty the last couple of years, but for Modern Warfare 2, very pumped. Because if you played Modern Warfare 2 back in the day on the 360 or the PS3 and stuff, like literally just a cultural phenomenon. It was everything. It was, you go home, you spend all night every single day, took up most people's time on the 360. It was just huge. It was one of the biggest that I can remember in my time for gaming, one of the biggest like cultural phenomenons and overtakes of gaming that I've ever experienced. Under Xbox Publishing, Project Dragon is the IO Interactive game for Xbox. I believe so. Yes, that is the project, or that is the IO Interactive game. Halo should focus on campaign co-op and Forge. If people want to make their own battle royale, let them have at it. We need campaign co-op badly. Gears Collection, that's another one that's been rumored. I would love to see the Gears Collection. I'd be on that right away. I want to see Gears Collection, Fable, Halo DLC, anything Bethesda, and Game Pass third party. The rest can be announced. Can be announcements and anything else I can think of at the moment. That's cool. Open World Games rule. They do. It did jump in Bliss with 10 seconds of Elder Scrolls 6 CGI and 3 seconds of Metroid 4 logo. Hey, that's cool. I'm not saying that it's like you shouldn't. I'm just saying for me, I get excited. I'm like, yes, this is coming, but like I need to see some sort of gameplay. Metroid Prime 4, honestly, I'll be completely honest with you. I actually got pretty excited when they showed off that logo too. But what the hell's going on with Metroid Prime 4? What's going on with that game? Is it ever going to come out? Like, you know, is that game ever coming out? Seems like they just keep restarting it. I want to see Fable, but that's not going to happen. You know, that's why I didn't say Fable, because I just had honestly, if I had one game I'd want to see that besides everything else right now, it would be Fable, but that's not going to happen on June 12th. I love for that though. I can't wait to see what they do. Next gen games for Xbox and PC, of course. Surprise announcement, Scalebound. Yeah, imagine they bought Platinum and said Scalebound's coming. Oh my god. Banjo remakes. I mean, it'd be cool to get a new Banjo game. Recore remake plus sequel. Recore is like a pretty underrated game. It's actually not that bad. Quantum Break remake plus sequel. Scalebound, Jade Empire remake. You really want to? You're really finesseful, Jade, trying to get into that back catalog. That'd be cool. Rise 2 maybe. Ambitious list. I also want to add Rise remake plus sequel. I don't think we're going to see anything of Halo BR. Maybe a teaser, potentially. I want to see every game that they're working on, all cards on the table. Imagine they had gameplay of every single game, even if it was like some of the gameplay they showed, there was like no backgrounds. It was just like a random character walking around and fighting enemies, like kind of like that early Mandalorian game that got canceled. COD World at War remake, that would be so cool. Oh yeah, that'd be really cool. Hey Jeffrey Garcia, appreciate that. Thank you for stopping by as well. Maybe Indiana Jones potentially. There's been a lot of chatter about Indiana Jones lately with it being multi-platform. I think Jess Corden said he hasn't heard anything different, but from what he heard like last year or something, that it is staying multi-platform. And people were upset about this. And I talked about this at the beginning of the show. It's like, who cares? Who gives a shit if it's multi-platform? It's coming to Game Pass on day one. Like, you don't gain anything by other people not playing a game other than being able to brag in console wars. That's literally all you gain. You don't gain anything else from it. It doesn't matter. Like, they put Indiana Jones on PlayStation, Microsoft and Xbox Game Studios, they're going to be making more money than if they were to keep it just on the platform. Like, overall, they probably would end up making more money, which means they're going to have more money to make more games that are coming to Game Pass day one, right? And more Xbox Game Studios games. I want to see a new Conkers, and I think Double Fine would be a perfect fit to do it. Double Fine, I'm so excited as to what they're working on next. Because from Psychonauts 2, incredible game. I can't wait to see what they're working on next. Wonder about the Monster Hunter-like game, also from Certain Affinity, as that too gives me the feeling it could potentially be a spiritual successor to Scalebound, as Xbox owns the IP. That'd be super cool. Live Phoenix, how you doing? Good. I'm doing good. Thank you for stopping by to another week of Plumecast. Appreciate it. I've had Game Pass since I got the Xbox Series S in late 2020. I've always offers at least one game a month that makes it worth it. I like indie titles, and that's it. I love the indie titles. Like, I'm playing Iden Chronicles right now, and I'm close to finishing it. It's an incredible little teaser as to, I mean, you can still get like 20 hours out of it, but it's an incredible little tease as to what the full game release is going to be when that comes out. Great game. If you like side-scrolling hack and slash JRPGs, definitely recommend going to check it out. Jeffrey Garcia, welcome to Plumepass. Appreciate it. Or it seems like you've already been a Plumepass member, but either way, I got a notification for it. Thank you. And everyone in the chat, Plumepass, just literally $1 a month, help support the channel, get some cool stickers and stuff. But yeah, appreciate the support. I'd love for Double Fine doing a Brutal Legend 2. Me too. That game is awesome. I actually jumped back into that recently, a couple months ago or whatever. Such a quirky game. Hey Michael, hey, thanks for stopping in. Enjoy your shift and have a good day at work, and appreciate all the support, Michael. Have a good one. Yes, welcome to the Plume community. Welcome. But yeah, it's where are we? 2 weeks away from the event. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Awesome if they would be able to give us a scare with a gameplay sequence of Scorn. Yeah. Scorn is still coming out, right? Like they're still pushing for the 2022 release unless they end up delaying it again, but I don't think that they will. That game looks really interesting. I don't know. It looks like it should be scary. I don't really know what to expect from it though. It looks very, very just creepy and weird and different. So it's definitely a game I'm going to be going into just with no expectations and hopefully get a little bit scared. I don't do the best with scary games. Something I gotta play, make sure all the lights are on. But you know, I will be checking it out. All right. There's also another event on June 3rd where Sega is going to be announcing their new project. So I'm guessing Sonic Frontiers or something, which could be interesting because we know that they have their super game stuff that they're partnering with Xbox for. Could be going over a lot of stuff on that. June 3rd at, I don't know what time that says, but it says 20 JST, whatever time that is. So it could be very, very cool. Lots of actual stuff coming up when it comes to events. There is more than just, I mean, you've got the Xbox and Bethesda one that's kicking it off, but then there's also State of Play on June 2nd, Summer Games Fest on June 9th, which we should be getting some cool announcements. Geeked Week on June 10th. Tribeca Game Spotlight on June 10th as well. And then the Xbox and Bethesda showcase. No like other big third-party publisher showcases still, with which Jeff Keighley like pretty much talked about and said they're not happening this year. They're not happening this year. Why Plume is it your last name? It is not my last name. Plume is literally just a random nickname that I got called. So I play baseball, and I went up to bat and somebody randomly called me Plume. I forget what it was. I forget who it was. And then like my team just all started calling me that, and then it just kind of stuck. And they called me the Big Plume. I guess it's like, I think plume is like feather in French or something. And I'm kind of just like I guess they were saying I'm a big feather. I don't know. Big and light on my feet. I don't really know what they meant. But yeah, that's how it's stuck. It really has no relation to gaming or to anything. It's just completely random. And then I named the channel The Big Plume. And then I changed it to Plume Network. And here we are. Is that game Pragmata a Sony Times exclusive, or is it fully multi-platform? I don't know. I feel like it is multi-platform. Yeah, it's multi-platform. It says Series X, Series S. Also waiting for Sega and Atlas to reveal Persona 5 ports for Xbox. They're putting SMT Soul Hackers on Xbox. Why not Persona? I mean, they, like I said earlier, they did a survey, so hopefully enough people said they wanted games on Xbox, and then they'll bring it over. Picked up a PlayStation 5 today, and I'm not impressed. I do not wish to talk bad about PS, but my Series X just fulfills my heart in every aspect. Not saying PS is a bad console. I mean, PlayStation, the PS5 isn't a bad console, but like for myself, like I don't use it very much either. I play the majority of my games on Xbox. It has everything I need. It just kind of sits there, and I gotta play Sifu. That's my next game I gotta play on PS5. And then I will play God of War Ragnarok when that comes out. Actually, God of War is one of the PlayStation exclusives that I actually really enjoy. So Plume also describes the mushroom cloud a la Fallout. So Plume fits the Vault Boy like branding you do. Okay, perfect. Well, there you go. Perfect. All right. What we got going on here? So we got 62 of you in here. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for stopping by the Plumecast. I mean, just hanging out Saturday night. I think there's one more topic I want to talk about. That topic, I don't know if you guys saw this week. And it has to do with Ed Freeze, the former executive at Xbox. Pretty big guy. If you guys watched the documentary, he had a prominent role in there. And he's talking about being scared of Xbox Game Pass's potential impact on the industry. Saying here, the one thing that they're doing that makes me nervous is Game Pass. Game Pass scares me because there's a somewhat analogous thing called Spotify that was created for the music business. And he goes on and he talks about how he believes that Spotify destroyed the music business. They say he literally cut the annual revenue of the music business in half, saying people don't buy songs anymore because of Spotify. They just pay for their subscription and all this other stuff going on. And as we know, that's just like not true. That Spotify has actually been good for the music business, as not only has it cut piracy, it has also increase the amount of money that the music business has been making. It says here, Spotify and the cloud-based technology in which it relies actually gave music fans a more convenient, legal, and monetized alternative to piracy. And then once consumers were comfortable with that, Spotify performed a further miracle, upselling hundreds of millions of music consumers to subscription via monthly billing, despite the fact that the same free alternative, music piracy, remains available in any browser. And it actually made for music specifically, for Spotify specifically, it made the music industry grow 73%, which is just crazy, from $15 billion in annual revenues to $25.9 billion in 2021. But we have Ed Freeze here, who is skeptical of Xbox Game Pass. And you see a lot of these older executives coming out. You see them coming out and say that Xbox Game Pass is going to have this big negative impact because people aren't going to be buying games anymore, which I personally don't buy it at all. Like, I buy games, but I don't personally buy what they're saying here. Because you look at Spotify, and yeah, what he's saying is going to apply to some people. Like, some people don't buy songs anymore. Sure, I don't buy songs. I use Spotify. Some people still pirate songs. Sure. I feel like if you were pirating songs before Spotify, you're probably still pirating songs. Like, it's so easy to go download and pirate songs these days. It's like probably even easier than it was back in the day. So but what it has done in terms of, for a large amount of pirates, is it actually has taken them away and put them on to Spotify. And when it comes to games, the narrative that Game Pass is going to make people stop spending money on video games, yeah, I don't believe it's true. We've seen statistics come out from Xbox specifically where people are spending more money on games. People are trying more games. Game sales have gone up. We saw Mike Rose from, what's it called? I forget the studio he runs. No More Robots, saying how much better Game Pass has been, or how good Game Pass has been for his games, how it's increased sales, all that type of stuff. So we see all these people who aren't working in the actual subscription service saying that Game Pass is going to have a negative impact on gaming. And then you look at this narrative and then you compare it to what Sony is doing, which is upselling their games by extra $10, $70, right? For a first party PlayStation game, which for no reason. You can try to spin it all you want. People can say that, oh, it's higher quality. Oh, they need the extra $10 per game so that they can keep making these high quality games. I don't buy it for a second. I don't believe it. I don't believe that is true whatsoever. The reason I think Sony charges $70 per game is because they know their fans will pay $70. They may even pay $80 if Sony tells them to. Hey, you guys want another first party game? We need $80 per game. You got to pay it, or you're not going to be able to create the next God of War. Their fans may actually pay that $80 per game, which I think is absurd. And it's just Sony kind of taking advantage of them. So, I mean, I've always had that kind of viewpoint on that with these $70 per game. And with Game Pass, not only are developers making money based off of the deals that they're making, because we know that Phil Spencer has said that they have like different styles of deals depending on the type of game, depending on whatever the publisher wants, whatever the developer needs. Like, do they cover their marketing costs? Do they pay them based on how many people download and play the game and all that type of stuff? So there's different deals. And we've seen games get put into Game Pass to offset negative sales, such as Guardians of the Galaxy, which obviously didn't do very well when it came out, but it put into Game Pass, and Square Enix was happy with its performance. So there's all these things, but all of these executives are always coming out and thinking that this is going to be bad for the industry, which I don't believe. I think it's nonsense, and we're going to continue to see this. And if it was bad for the industry, I don't think publishers would be putting their games into the service, because they're the ones that really set the goals for their games. Are the ones that evaluate how well a game sells, how well a game does, how much money they need to make in order to make back all of the marketing and development costs and all that type of stuff, right? You wouldn't see developers putting their games in the Game Pass at all if it was at all bad for the industry. But we're also now seeing the complete opposite happen in gaming, which is PlayStation as well is moving towards more of a Game Pass style with PlayStation Plus, and they're putting more games onto PC because they see that the money comes from getting revenue from multiple different sources. And here we are with Game Pass, and Game Pass is going to continue to grow. I think the impact is going to be positive, especially once subscribers continue to increase. You're going to get more games, get more access, and pay a lot less. And I was thinking about this the other day too. It's like, growing up playing video games, Game Pass, if I had something like Game Pass, it would have been the most incredible thing ever to hit gaming. Because back in the day, you get like a demo and you play that demo 100 times in a row, and that would be your gaming for the month or whatever. So Game Pass is a great thing. I find it interesting where you have these big executives always, or even like former Microsoft executives, being naysayers to what Xbox Game Pass is, and what type of effect it's going to have on the industry. Let's jump back here. What do you guys think? What are your guys' thoughts on this? All right, lots of comments here. All right. Jeffrey Garcia got a bundle from GameStop. So yeah, I heard that at GameStop they had in-store PS5s and people were lining up. They had like 3 or 4 per store, so you got one. Was it easy to get your PS5 from GameStop, or did you have to get there early? Like, how did that happen? Will I go live once a week? I try to go live once a week. That's what I've been trying to do. I won't be live next week. Actually, am going to. I got a commitment. I got my friend's getting married, so I'm going to my buddy's wedding next week, so I won't be able to go live, fortunately. But yeah, I'm trying to go live every Saturday. Maybe sometimes Friday, but it's been Saturday consistently over the last month or so. I admit he's right about Spotify don't really buy songs. Interesting. I mean, yeah, there are, like I said, some people don't buy songs anymore. I don't buy songs. I subscribe to Spotify. Why would I buy songs? Spotify literally has everything. But when you look at the overall revenues of Spotify and how it's increased the revenues of the music industry, I think you're going to see a similar effect when it comes to Game Pass. Yeah, I totally hate spending $60 on all my games. You know what? Me too, and I'm not afraid to admit it. One of the craziest things, I got to rant about this. When people use this argument and like talk down to people, or like try to say people aren't real gamers or don't support gaming because they enjoy keeping more money in their pocket and they want games to come to Game Pass so they don't have to spend the $60 on the game. Like, how is that a bad thing? How does that make you not a gamer? That's just like the smart thing. Like, you're not making money off of the video game, or the developer's still getting supported because they've made millions of dollars from the deal with Game Pass, right? And just that stuff just blows me away. And you see that a lot on social media where it's, I mean, I'll be honest, it's a lot of the PlayStation guys, right? Like, they're like, yeah, I spent $70 on my game. I support the developer. You don't support the developer because you are on Xbox Game Pass. It's literally the stupidest logic. I just don't understand how people think like that. That's my rant. Actually, that's my reason I dropped Game Pass. I stopped playing my already owned games. I have many quality games in PC and PS4. Hey, nothing wrong. I don't care if people aren't on Game Pass. It doesn't matter to me whatsoever. I have a huge back catalog of stuff. And what I do is, like, I've been going kind of back and forth in my back catalog, games that are on Game Pass and games that aren't on Game Pass. but I find myself always playing at least one Game Pass game a month. Something new that came out the month, I'm always jumping into one. Like I think about just this year, I don't know if I can remember every month, but like Nobody Saves the World. Then we had Tunic. Then we had Trek to Yomi. Hiding Chronicles. Far Changing Tides. That's another one I played. Like there's always a new indie game or a new AAA game. This month will be Sniper Elite 5. Like that drops into Game Pass. I'm at least playing one Game Pass game a month. And to me, that's worth it because I'm paying what, $15 a month, and generally the game you're playing is worth more than $15. So I think it's worth it at the end of the day. And that's just like a very generalized thing. Like I probably play more than one, but like it's at least always one. If I love a game, I always buy them. Game Pass is like a rental service for me. And sure, if you love the game, you want to support the game, you want to keep it in your collection forever. I mean, I have a huge physical collection. There's nothing wrong with that. My point with people saying that like you don't support devs because you don't buy a game that's on Game Pass, it's just not a good argument. Because the devs are making a ton of money off of Game Pass. And if people weren't subscribed to Game Pass, then the devs that option wouldn't be available to them where they have like the ability to make millions of dollars off of these Game Pass deals or however much they make. And then it takes away all of the risk of marketing and development, all that type of stuff. It's already been paid for. Amazon Prime is the only subscription model you can use as comparable to Game Pass. As on Amazon Prime, you can buy films, shows outside of the subscription offering. Interesting. I hate the Sony guys BS how they say all that Xbox gamers must be broke. Yeah, that's like, yeah. I don't even know what to say that. That's stupid. I need Game Pass so I don't buy the games I don't like. For years, I bought every game on Xbox. I have thousands of them. It's insane. So it's helped you. It's helped you with your purchasing problem or whatever. Hopefully these Sony fanboys will finally stop the Xbox has no exclusives argument now that their games are coming to PC as well. Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for them to come to PC. It's going to happen. Day and date's going to happen at some point. We just don't know when. If you want an in-store Xbox Series X or S or PS5, you have to get up around 2 a.m. to be the first in line. Huh. Yeah. Like luckily I don't need one, so. They had about 30 per store. Interesting. That's around Seattle area. Okay. So that must have been not that hard to get. Sure, they sold out within the first hour. Yeah, but 30, that's not bad. 30 per store. I don't know how many stores are around you, but that's a decent amount. Imagine they were doing this from the start to kind of like stop all the scalping. Have them like that, the 30 per store or something. Probably would have helped out a decent amount. Local Walmart and GameStop sell the Xbox Series S in store. See them in the display window, but no PS5 or Series X. Weird West. Yes, I actually played Weird West as well. That one slipped my mind. A great game. Great game. All the different storylines you went through, multiple different endings you could get, all the different decisions. Just an awesome game, Weird West. Definitely check out Weird West. I don't know how that one slipped my mind. Got Game Pass for $1 and I've been playing Sniper Elite 5. Xbox is good for gaming. Yeah, $1. I will buy Stalker 2 to support the Ukraine devs who had to move. Yeah, stuff like that. No, yeah, why not? Why not? Stalker 2, I'm really excited for Stalker 2. Maybe I may do the same thing as well. Who knows? You buy a AAA game, you're not supporting the developer, you're lining the pockets of the publisher. Great point. Think back to Square taking Game Pass money, not forwarding it to the staff that made that. Yeah, great point, Pyro. That's so true too. It's with the indies. With the indies, if you really love an indie game, maybe buy an extra copy. Is probably, I don't know how much some indie games are, but like some of them go from like what, $10, $15, $20, $25, right? You really want to support them, but at the same time, like a game like Tunic, right? A masterpiece, absolute masterpiece. One of the best games. Tunic, in my opinion, is a game of the year candidate. And it was on Game Pass day one. How much money do you think that guy made? Because it was like it wasn't a one man team, but it was like a one guy who like I guess was like the main dude who made it. How much money do you think he made from Microsoft? That would be really interesting to see. I'm sure Tunic did very well by going on to Game Pass on day one. I'm sure it did well. I don't think that they're going to have issues making a second game. Again, a guess. Could be completely wrong, but that's the feeling I have. I feel like Tunic is going to be completely fine. Plus, there's probably a lot of people that bought it as well on Xbox. Two Series X thanks to All Access. Interesting. Things would have been a lot better by now. I live on a military base and they have Series X in store all the time. They also sell out the first hour. Yeah. There you go. But but overall, like it would have killed off the scalpers. Remember having the mindset that indie games weren't worth $15+ back in the day, but Game Pass introduced me to games I wouldn't be caught dead paying for before, and widened my views on gaming. I mean, me as well. I'll be honest, like before Game Pass, I dabbled into indie games, not nearly as much as I do now, but before, I would say, I don't know, I want to go with like maybe 2015. I don't know. I'm just going to throw a random year out there. My entire life growing up, it was all about like the big game, the big AAA game. What's the next one coming out? And then as I'm getting older, as I'm seeing, like, especially with Game Pass, has opened my eyes up just insanely. The amount of like creativity in the music, graphics, characters, storytelling, and even gameplay for these indie games it's incredible. Whereas like with a lot of AAA games, you're just getting the same thing over and over and over again because they know it's going to sell. It's going to sell millions and millions of copies. And I feel like the indie scene is where if you love the art of gaming, I feel like the indie scene is like where you really get to experience a lot of that. You get to see like all the different like creativeness in the industry. I do think indie games have gone better. They weren't during the PS3 360 era. Yeah, fair. That's probably what turned off a lot of people too to indie games if they were playing games during the eras weren't they just weren't great. But now it's so much easier to make them, right? All the tools that are available out there. All right, I'm gonna call it there, guys. It's about an hour and 40 minutes here, and grab some food, just relax a bit, and thank you guys for coming out. Thank you guys for hanging out tonight. Fun time as usual. I will not be live next week, but I should be live the week after, and we'll continue to talk about stuff. Actually, the week after is going to be the Xbox and Bethesda showcase, plus all the other stuff. I'll probably stream as much as I can for those showcases. So if you guys want to come out by and watch them and hang out, we'll be doing that. So thank you guys for stopping by episode number 49 of the Plumecast, and I will catch you guys in my videos throughout the week and during the next